recording. Great. So we said up here in the Keepa graph, we have the marketplace, say France. And let's go into France and try to figure out if we can see how many sales we're doing for our chosen product. Okay. So I go into search. You see the search, and I put the ASIN, and I see that here. What strikes you first about looking at this ASIN in France?
It's relatively better than the other graph that I was looking at because I see a lot of sawtooth part of the graph.
Right, exactly. So you have the sawtooth pattern, and then again we have to worry about these things where it's not a jump, right? It's just a slow rise, right? So let's see if we can count. See, in these situations, I might even want to go by the week, and then it's much easier to count, especially in this higher volume sales. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if we can count how many sales we had this month.
I counted 44.
44, let's see. Yes, okay, I counted a little bit less, maybe 39, but that's probably a good guess.
I did not count these very small jumps, but I did include this one, for example, the April 21st. I assumed that this was 2 jumps.
Yes.
For the item, and then I did not include this one. 1, 2.
I do not see your mouse. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No worries.
So yeah, I did not include those tips that has relatively very small change or small jump.
Right.
I only counted the one that looks very significant.
Right. Okay, good. Okay, great. So now that we understand Keepa, let's go back to Ecommercer. So I'm going to open here an Ecommercer window. So here's the Ecommercer window. So now here's these are the search parameters. Okay, so notice we have the ASIN list, the ASIN exclude, and the UPC. Okay, these 3 boxes for now we're going to ignore, right? They're not important for our search. And what we're going to start to do is you can either pick one store. So let's pick, say, Fnac, and here we put in the parameters of the search of what we want to find. So what are we looking for? We're looking for products that are selling, that have a profit margin, that are not too expensive, and that have decent ROI. Do you know what ROI is?
Return of investment.
Exactly, right. So we want ROI, right? Basically, how much money you invest compared to how much money you make. So if you pay €1 and you get back €1.3, then your ROI is 30%. Very simple. All of these, now some parameters have ranges and some parameters do not. Obviously, if you have an ASIN list, then it's just the ASIN list. But for instance, if you notice that profit month, ROI, cost, and sales per month all have ranges. Now, the software has a horrible user interface because Marco and I wrote it. So sometimes it's a little bit confusing, but you'll see. You'll get used to it very, very quickly. So notice that the left box of the profit is the lower end, and the right box is the higher end. So for instance, if I put here 3.5, this means 3.5 euros profit.
Okay.
And the higher end, let's say I don't want to make more than 100 euros profit. Now, why would I want that? What do I care about making too much money? It's not because I'm a communist. Okay? It's because a lot of the times it's a way to filter out products that are just like false positives. Like if I'm making more than 1,000 euros on a product, probably somebody made a mistake in putting in the price, and it's going to not be interesting. So for now, I'm not going to put in the profit. If I leave it empty, it means that there's no limit. Now, here's the important part. The profit is, and this is very important, write this down. The profit is per product sold, per unit product sold. Okay? Now, the profit per month is the total profit that we make on this ASIN per month that we would make. Okay? Now, it's incorrect by definition because basically the profit per month, if there's multiple, so you know that there's multiple sellers per item. So if there's multiple sellers and everybody gets the buy box every now and then obviously the profit is going to be shared between them. So this is an incorrect calculation. In the future we may correct it, but for now what it means is the total profit that everybody that's selling this item and has the buy box and shares the buy box is going to make together. Okay, now usually here I put 100 euros per month, profit per product. So it means if I sell 10 products and I make a profit of 10 euros per product, then that's 100 euros. Now, again, ROI, notice that the right box is the minimum and the left box is the maximum. So you see the word ROI here, it's between the two boxes. So here in the ROI, I put 30%. And
so it's percentage on ROI.
Exactly.
Currency on the profit tax.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Now, the maximum ROI, I just put 1,000 because that really filters. Anything above that is a false positive for sure. It's very easy, especially in Europe, people make pricing mistakes because, say in Spain, we use a comma to separate the decimals, and in the US, they use a dot, and a lot of times people confuse it, so they just put the wrong prices. So instead of costing 10 euros, it costs 10,000 euros. And it's people who do like massive uploads of thousands of products, and they just leave it there and they don't care. So it's kind of a way to filter out these kinds of people. Now, the cost is how much the product it costs to us. I usually, there sometimes is a reason to do it, but I usually do not put the lower end, I put the upper end. So notice I'm here on the right-hand side, and the upper end, I put, let's say, 29 euros for now. These are the parameters that we're going to use. That may change over time. Marco may have different parameters for his. This is what kind of I use, but, you know, it changes and it depends. Okay, now, sales month, this is very important. This is the number of unit sales per month. So it doesn't have to do anything with the price or anything like that. It just has to do with how many units we sell per month. Now, if I put 10, this means the accumulated number of units sold over all 5 marketplaces in Europe. Okay, so if I sell 2 in Spain, 2 in France, 2 in Germany, 2 in Italy, and 2 in the UK, the monthly sales are 10. So again, unit sales. So
Ari, just to clarify, all of these parameters will it's gonna mirror all of the European marketplace, not just a specific one. Because earlier I was thinking the pricing, the profit, it might be different if, as you mentioned earlier, there might be conversions from UK to Spain or to Italy. So these parameters will hold true to all of the European market. It doesn't have any specified market.
Correct.
Or is there a way for me to filter out the products to only show the ones in UK or the ones in, because they would have different pricings, right? For the same item.
Excellent question. At the moment, no, there is not. So you're absolutely right. There could be reasons why you should want to filter based on marketplaces because, for instance, certain people get blocked on certain marketplaces and not on others. But at the moment, no. At the moment, it shows aggregate of all, and there's no way to separate the markets apart.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now I have all of my parameters, and I press filter. I get a reply of all of the products. The list that you get back by default is sorted from by profit month. So let's go over each one of these columns. If you want to stop and take notes, feel free to stop and take notes. Although this is all getting recorded, so I can send you the recording when we're done.
Before we proceed,
Sure.
just another question.
Sure.
So you mentioned earlier that the profit month parameters and the profit or all of the parameters will be the data gathered for a lot of merchants selling the same product.
Correct.
What the store parameter is for then? The FNAC. Is that a specific
Okay. Sorry. Yes.
brand?
Okay. So store is is where we purchase the product. So basically, what does arbitrage mean? Arbitrage means that we buy at a certain place at a lower price and sell on Amazon for a higher price.
Sort of like your supplier.
Exactly like our supplier.
Okay, got it now.
Of course, I could do that without putting any store at all, and this would give me. This is something that we could do too, right? I could say, okay, where can I make the most money wherever? Now, the reason we choose the store is because if we make an order from one store, we want to make the order as large as possible from a single store and not, multiple orders from, first of all, some suppliers have a minimum order quantity. You can't order less than, say, 500 euros. So it makes sense that if you're looking for a product, you'd look once you're going to, in the stage when you're making the order, so you look at a specific store to make that purchase. So let's go back to, anyway, let's stay here because this is also a good example. So right off the bat, we can see the problem with our software. Let me start. So first of all, let me start with the columns and what they kind of mean. So the ASIN, that's obvious. The Amazon title is the title on Amazon of each one of these products. The profit month is the total profit for all of the sellers that are selling the same product on Amazon, on all of the marketplaces, right? So it's basically this number is, you see the profit column over here?
Yep.
Right, so it's basically this number is this plus this plus this plus this plus this. Is that correct? That doesn't seem like it's correct.
I think it's the ROI.
No. The ROI is percentage-wise. Something. I think we discovered a bug here. Anyway, now here is the most important thing that just off the bat, out of the gate, you can disqualify a product based on. Because this is the provider linked image and this is the Amazon linked image. You see that it's simply not the same product. One is a printer cartridge, and the other one is a screen holder. Now this happens because some suppliers just don't mark correctly the UPC, which is the universal product code of the products. So it's either somebody made a mistake or somebody recycled a UPC. Okay, so I'm going to use the word. Do you know the term UPC?
Yep, I do.
Okay, so there's two terms that we're going to use almost interchangeably. One is UPC and the other one is EAN, which is basically UPC in Europe. So in Europe, EAN is the European version. So this means you can already disqualify this product. And if probably the products that are most profitable, you can see that they're going to be in the top because if they're so profitable, then somebody would have found a way to sell it. But here we go, and looks like we have something that is a winner. If you notice, you'll see that the provider linked image looks very much like the Amazon linked image.
Yeah.
So this is great news. But we still need to investigate a little bit more to see if it really sells. So first of all, we can take a look at sales per month split. Okay, so sales per month split, we see Spain is selling 8, France 9, Germany 8, and Italy 4. Now, these numbers you have to treat with a little bit of suspicion because it's basically our way of detecting sales based on the Keepa graph, okay? And this is just not a reliable way of doing things, and soon we'll take a look at why. Now, if you take a look at the Keepa graph column, you basically see what the Keepa graph looks like in a very, very small icon. So I don't know if you see it well on your screen. You might not be able to see it well, but when you use Keepa yourself, you'll be able to see it more clearly. Now, for instance, just looking at the French marketplace, it already looks pretty good, right? Because you see the green. The green is the sales rank, right? So if I want to drill a little bit deeper, I can click on the Keepa graph to France, and this brings me to the product page of this product in France. And here, this looks a little bit suspicious. I don't know if this is really a good graph or not. Something here is weird. Okay, because you see that you have it's going up and down, but we don't see this sawtooth kind of like jumping quickly up and then decaying down, jump and decay. So when I say decay, I mean this thing that looks kind of like roundish, sort of like a logarithmic graph that goes down, sort of like circling down a little bit. So here, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what this means. I would be a little bit suspicious here in terms of what's going on. Okay? Now, the other thing to take a look at is, for instance, okay, so you see that the price of the new one is pretty stable through the majority of April, right? It's selling for 110 euros, and then suddenly it drops. And we don't even know, so it drops from 111 to 99. Excellent. So here I have to talk to Marco. Marco is the guy who has more experience in terms of looking at these graphs and analyzing it. And he also has experience selling this product, so we can ask him a little bit more about that. But that's sort of like when you start going through these products and you start writing these things down, then this is one of the things that you want to write down in the remarks, that the graph doesn't look like it's going to be something suspicious is here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just fine, and there's something that I don't understand. But Marco will know better than I do.
Okay.
Let's take a look at, say, Germany. So here there's another thing going on. Basically, you see that it's sort of like there's a lot more jumps, and it's sort of like a lot of like square, sort of like jump and flat and jump and flat. That just probably means that Keepa is not sampling at a higher frequency, right? So yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you say sampling, can you explain what that means?
Oh yes, sorry. So what happens is what Keepa does is at a certain time, it goes in there and it asks Amazon what is the BSR for this product, and it writes it down. Now, it doesn't do it in the same frequency for all products. So products that sell a lot, it asks maybe even multiple times a day. What's the BSR? What's the BSR? So if it asks multiple times a day, then the graph is going to be a lot more round, right? It's going to be a lot more continuous. You won't see jumps, right? You'll see a jump. Obviously, you'll see a jump when the BSR jumps up, but you'll see it sort of decaying, what I call decaying, which is sort of like falling precipitously and then falling slower and slower and slower, right? This is what causes... What does this round graph mean? It means that in the beginning it falls quickly, and as time goes by, it keeps on falling, but slower and slower and slower. And this is what causes the sort of like this elliptic downward graph. Okay, so the elliptic downward graph, I'm going to use the word decaying, right? So you see jump and decay, jump and decay.
Okay.
Now,
Got it.
Now, if Keepa is not sampling often enough, for instance, if the product is just not selling enough, or for whatever reason it decides in its infinite wisdom to not sample it, then you're going to see this kind of graph. So it basically means it asks the question, what is the BSR? So sampling frequency means how many times a day or a week or a month it asks what is the BSR. Okay, so here it makes it a little bit more difficult to read because the sampling is just not high frequency. So here you see, you see where my mouse is, right?
Yeah.
So it falls from a sales rank of 19,000 to 27,000. Very important. Make sure that you know, because when you log into your Keepa, you can decide to invert the sales rank graph. Because why? Because some people like me find it confusing that higher is worse. So what I did is I inverted it. So right now for me, the higher sales rank, so what appears higher on the graph is better. But if you notice here next to the sales rank, you see there's a little arrow 1 to 9. This inverts the graph, okay? Because some people are just used to knowing intuitively that lower is better. So what they do is they simply come here and they say, okay, lower, this is the best. I'm looking for lower sales rank. So just make sure that you're aware of how the graph is displayed. I don't know how it's going to be displayed. I think by default it's the reverse. This is why I'm saying. So if you go into Keepa, just don't get confused with that. So yeah, so here we see this is a decay. This probably would have been sort of like a round decay, but because the sampling frequency is low, then you see that it's sort of like jumps down, right? And then we're not surprised when we see jumps up. We're surprised when we see sort of like this jumps down. So probably this is sales, and you'll develop an instinct for it as we go along, and you know your first data set will work together, and we'll sort of like figure out together if we agree with your decisions or not. But you know that's fine. This is a learning experience. Okay, so I would say here I would count just from my point of view. I would count this is a sale. This is probably a sale. This is a sale. This I don't know. I would probably not. This is probably a sale. This maybe is a sale. It's difficult to say. Let's say month. Yeah, here it's easy. So I would say here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Probably not.
Would you count that, Ari? Would you count those little jumps?
No.
Okay.
I would not. So it's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I would say 17 sales. So obviously profit is the profit per unit.
Per unit.
Right, the ROI is ROI per unit, so ROI is pretty attractive. The sales is the number of sales. This is the profit per marketplace per month, and yes, and the cost is obviously how much it costs to us. Now, what's important to understand in this whole business is that we can't just say, okay, we buy for 27 and we sell for 101, because we also have to take into account the costs that Amazon charges us. So Amazon charges us for pick and pack, so logistics, and it charges us for storage, and it also charges 15% listing fee. Okay, so all of that is calculated, and the profit is calculated after that. So like, you shouldn't be surprised if you see a product that sells that you buy for 15 and sell for 30 and it has no profit on it, because Amazon is basically eating all our profits. Now notice that the green, when you see here that it's green, it means that there is profit. So if we go down a little bit further, you see over here it's in the red, which red means that the profit is that we have either no profit or that the profit is negative. Means we would be losing money if we sell that product. So here there's a truly awful product, right? Because you have something that's probably a false positive, right? Because the images don't match. And also, you know, there's no, this is in the red, none. The other pitfall that we might find is packs. So what happens is sometimes when you buy the product, basically the vendor sells one of them. And on Amazon, they sell pack of 5. Okay, so let me see if I can locate something like that. Let's say Carrefour. I think there's a lot of these situations where... Yes, okay. So you see this Philips Hue White? Okay. So notice that the provider link shows one bulb. And on Amazon, they show multiple. And indeed, if I take a look on the left-hand side, when you see the AMZ title, the Amazon title, you see that, for instance, in Spain, this is pack de 5 bombillas, right? It's unfortunately, there's no English here. But every time we detect the word pack, we mark it with this yellow background. And this is to tell you, caution, this is probably going to be a pack. So let's confirm that this is the case. If we go here into the provider link. Yes, this is one bulb. It sold for 17. And if we go back into the Amazon link and we say go to here, then we see that it says pack de 5. No way to make money here. So this is something that you can most of the time safely ignore. If you run into a situation where it's still profitable, then great. I frankly have not run into these situations. All right, here's another situation where you have a pack. Right, on the provider linked image there's 1 Insta, and on the Amazon there's 3. Let's just confirm our suspicions. Indeed, this just sells 1 item, and if we go back and we link to the Amazon website, we can see, say the UK, we can see that it's a pack of 3. Insta Minifilm bundle pack, 60 shots. Okay, here we have another situation where it's a pack because you can see on the Amazon linked image, actually I think this is just a different product. Yeah. So now the yellow one is just caution, right? Because a lot of times the thing that we do here, this is a very primitive way of looking at it. We just look for the word pack and signal it. So it could very well be that the product has the name pack in it, and it doesn't mean that it's a pack of multiple products. Going further down, okay, you see here again, this is a false positive. We have here something that is a water boiler, and you can very clearly see that on Amazon it's sold as part of a pack with a toaster and a coffee maker, right? So that's also going to be a false positive. Let's just confirm our suspicion. Let's go to, say, Germany. Yes, and you can see that it says, I don't speak German, but I can see that it's something plus something plus something, and I can see that there's clearly an image of the toaster and a coffee maker. So that's probably something that you can also safely ignore.
Another question.
Sure.
Because on that page, on the Amazon page, aside from the bundle variant, there was also other variants on that specific listing. One is for a heater, one is for a toaster, and one is for a coffee maker. So
yes.
Kipa, the one that I see on Kipa, I should just ignore these other variants and only focus on the one that is showing on Kipa?
Great question. So let's take a look again at what it looks like. Remember, I had you install the Kipa plugin. So this is why we're doing the Kipa plugin. Notice this is very important. Each and every time where you look at the Kipa graph on the page, take a look at this warning on the bottom. Sales rank history is of a parent ASIN and not the specific validation. This is very dangerous. So it's very important that you make sure that it's not, because what happens is Amazon is not very consistent. Sometimes it tracks the sales rank per variation, and sometimes it tracks for the parent product, right? So if you have say variations, if you have say a small, medium, large, extra large, and it turns out that you have a lot of sales in, say, extra large, okay, then most likely it's not tracking how many sales the extra large is doing. It's tracking what all of the family together is doing. But sometimes it does. Sometimes there is variations. Depends on how the variation is done. It does track individual products. So this is why when you get here and you see sales rank history is for parent ASIN and not for this specific variation, you're basically SOL, as we say in English.
Gotcha.
I don't want to use bad language, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
So the second and third word is out of luck. You're out of luck. So this is kind of like thing to be worried about. So that was a very, very good question. I mean, but let's take a look. So we see we could take a look at how much only the water boiler is. Okay, so if we take a look at only the water boiler, we see that the water boiler is sold for 32 euros. So 32 euros, most likely, if the product costs us 25, there's not going to be a lot of money to be made, but it's very easy to calculate, because if you see, you subtract this from this, right? So, and then you see if you can still make a profit if you sell it for 32 euros, right? Which You can see that you can probably not. Let's keep on going on another product. You know what? Why don't you do Mad Max? I'll be your mouse, and you tell me what to do, and you tell me what you think about this product.
So that looks like it's the same item, so it's not a set, and then the cost is $8. Let's try the UK market.
Okay, so yeah, UK is the only marketplace that we have. So, so first of all, without even going there, can you see the Keepa, the small Keepa graph over here?
Yeah, I see it, but there's nothing really going on the graph.
Right.
There is one market that has a lot of progress on the graph, but it's showing it's not profitable on that market.
Right. So you look at this graph, this is dead completely. You see no movement on the sales rank. The sales rank jumped once, which means that maybe there was like one sale, because who the hell buys Mad Max on Blu-ray, right?
People do here.
Well, that's because it costs $50 to buy there over there, right? They wouldn't pay £34 for it in the Philippines, I don't think.
No, we only sell it for 50 cents. Anyway, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, great. So let's keep going.
To skip that. Skip that. It doesn't look like it's the same item.
All right. Okay. Now here, this is interesting.
That looks a bit similar, but the provider link, I'm not sure if they're offering that in bundle.
Yeah, so here it takes a little bit more digging deeply, because it looks like, okay, so first of all here, notice that when I get to Carrefour, I don't see the product, and that probably means that the product is no longer in stock, or they're no longer selling it. So that's probably what it means here. But it would have been, I think it looks like it's the same product, just because I own a GoPro and it seems like it's something that it's the similar product. Okay, so here's another false positive. This is probably another false positive, I'm pretty sure, just because I know this product. So here, printing cartridges are you get a lot of false positives there, because a lot of mismatch. I don't know why. So here, let's take a look. Easy enough to see. This is the Epson T061. Let's take a look on what's it selling on Amazon as. So it's not even the same product code. So this is T0615. And I'm sure if we go down here, no, that's actually okay. So here, I wasn't sure if it tracks a variation or not. See here, we don't have that warning that we had before. So maybe I'm wrong here, but here you really have to sort of like dig down and dig deep and understand. Okay, so here on Amazon, you see that it's sold as T0613, 614, 612, 611, and if we go to Carrefour, we see it sold as just one color out of the 4 color. This is just a T0613, which is the magenta. Again, we can see here it was marked for us at yellow, so we know this was a dud. Okay, here we have another suspicious pack. This is very easy to see. You see the provider link. This is why we included the images, because the images is really the first thing that tells us. So here provider link says 1. And here it's a pack of 6, so keep going. Again, mismatch. This seems again like this is going to be pack of 3. So, right. Here this looks like an interesting match. So let's analyze this. Smeg. Oh, that's a high-end brand. What do you think about this product?
It only has a profit on only giving it a good number on 2 markets.
Right.
Not really 2, just 1.
Right.
It's just 1% on UK, so that's not really good. And then see the graph. The graph on, is that Germany?
Germany, yes.
It's showing that the product has a good number of sales, but regarding the other market, it's not really competitive.
Not competitive in what way?
On the other market, it's not getting a lot of sales, doesn't have any profit at all.
Right. Right. Okay. So here, so this is we encounter another thing, which is basically it may say one price over here on ours, but when you go to the website, it shows a different price. Now here is a very important distinction. So it says 6 new from 30.75, but this is very important to understand. Amazon and also people, buyers, prefer Amazon Prime, right? Why do they prefer Prime? First of all, there's a guarantee from Amazon that they will get it. The delivery times are guaranteed to be short, so usually in many marketplaces you can get next day, sometimes you can even get the same day, believe it or not, or maybe 3 days, but not more than that. Now, all of the other people, now if you take a look at so basically, so what I did here is you see here it says 6 new from 30.75.
Yeah.
Right, so if I go here into the 6 new, then I see all of the people that are basically competing for the buy box. Right, so I see that there is basically only one person that's selling for the buy box. And if I click on Prime, then yes, then I confirm my suspicion. There's only one guy, and he's selling for 30.75. But our software told us that it was selling for 45. So what's going on here? So our software runs every night or updates. It doesn't update that often. So the price might not be updated. Now, if you take a look at the profit and you see that the profit is 12 euros, that's less than the drop in the price, right? Because here it's 45. On Amazon, we see that it's 30. So that's 15 euros difference. And all of the profit is 12 euros difference. So it means even on Germany, we're not going to make any money, even if we can sell 30. So that already disqualifies it.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's the price, the competitive price that I see on this column is not reliable. So I have to really check the Amazon product page.
Exactly.
To compare. Okay.
Exactly. By the way, take a look at the Spain sales. Of course, there's no profit there, but the graph is exactly the chainsaw graph, the sawtooth graph that we like, right? You see.
But it's the sawtooth graph, but it's a different. It's like flip.
Yes. So what does that mean to you, without knowing anything else?
It means that it doesn't really get any sales at all because there's no significant jump. I'm only seeing what do you call this? A big drop on the graph.
Okay, I apologize. That was actually a trick question. The only thing that it means that is the graph is flipped. So if you go into Keepa, notice that we actually do see the very classical sawtooth graph that we like, right? We have the jump and the fall, the jump and the fall, and you can see, you can clarify. So if you take a look at that and you see that the graph looks like this, the way it looks here, then you know this is the classic sawtooth, and this means that we can probably reliably count the number of sales that you have here. So this is sawtooth. Okay, great. So let's keep going. Okay, here we have, so here again, we want to take a look to see that the product is the same on Amazon. Germany looks pretty promising, right? I'm also taking a look at the graph and I see that there seems to be activity here, right? And it sells 8 a month. Let's take a look at what it looks like inside. Okay, so this is the Awesome 840 Deluxe D 24 watt 2P, and then we see pack of 10. Ooh, pack of 10. That is not.
Wow.
That is not good. And you can
Okay.
see that already here,
10 articles.
10 articles.
10
Alright, so if we go here in the Carrefour, then we see that it's indeed just one. Sold for very cheap, but if we have to sell 10 of them, multiplied by 10, 35 euros, you cannot make any money on that. Okay, here we go again.
Ari,
Yeah.
just a theoretical question. What if this bulb sells cost us $3.51? If, for example, the competitive price on Amazon is not, example in France it's not 33, for example it's 50 plus. Will that be okay?
I would say,
if this
good question. I would say at this point, no. I think in any case, it might just not be worthwhile unless you see something that's extremely profitable, because that would require extra logistics on our part to pack it together. So probably what I would say is just anything that's a pack, just you can reject outright.
Gotcha. All right.
So let's see. El barco, temporada 1. Okay, so you see the boat. You don't speak any Spanish, right?
I don't.
Okay, no problem. There's no Spanish requirement. So here again, we take a look at this. Looks like it's the same product. Looks pretty good, but there's no profit anywhere except for Germany. And Germany seems like, I don't know why it says 10 sales here. I don't see 10 sales here, right? Do you agree? Right, seems like in the 3 months, they had one sale.
One sale.
And here we have a set, which could mean trouble, but it looks pretty similar. So let's take a look. This is the Disney set. And here you kind of want to be careful with this. So this is sold for 43 euros. Ah, that's strange. See, because here it says that the cost is 12 euros, but if I go to Carrefour, it says 43 euros. So again, everything that the software says, you have to recheck again, because you see again there's a mismatch.
Okay.
Okay, again there's a photo mismatch. Yeah.
Another question. What if the provider link shows you a set of 3 or a bundle of 3 items?
Mm-hmm.
It shows good profit, ROI percentage is high, but the Amazon link is only showing 2 bundles. So it's like you're giving an extra thing to someone who's gonna buy this set from the provider.
Okay, so basically, mark it down, add the comment to the spreadsheet that you're creating, and let us know. I haven't run into it, but obviously, if that's the situation, then we can deal with that.
Okay.
So here we go down. This again looks like a dud, because you've got on Carrefour. It looks I don't know. Maybe it isn't different. Let's see exactly what this is. Yeah, no, this is the same product indeed. And look, this is a nice product, 816.68. It's even lower than the price that our software detected. But it's only selling in the UK. And even without...
graph?
Yeah, you see the graph doesn't look very impressive. So even if we go into the UK... and we take a look at the graph, so we see there's basically one sale here in the 3 months period. And on top of that, we have this warning that sales history rank of parent ASIN. So we can't even rely on it, and the software incorrectly detected the amount of sales. It says 30, and it's definitely not 30. Okay, so here, keep on going in the UK. Again, doesn't look like there's any sales whatsoever here.
Yeah.
I think when our software doesn't see anything in the graph that it detects, it goes by sales rank. And sales rank is, as I mentioned in the interview, it's a very dangerous thing to take a look at. Here we have a Lego. So this looks good. We have healthy sales, This is kind of, I like products that sell in multiple markets, not just in one marketplace. So this looks pretty good. And Germany, the graph looks busy, goes up and down. We can take a look and drill deeper, but that already looks okay. France, we have the sawtooth graph that we like. The UK as well, Italy as well. Looks pretty good. So let's investigate, make sure that we're not making any mistakes. So first thing is make sure that the price is the same price that it says here, which is 15, and it's risen to 41. So that's unfortunate. So that's already, unfortunately, it means that all of the marketplaces, it's going to be unprofitable because you see the profit is 19, 12, and it's like, okay, so this is just like a non-starter. Let me see, batidor de mano, this looks okay. Cost is 29. Let's take a look again over here. And again, it jumps to 67. Lego, this looks okay, looks the same. Cost is 23 euros. Let's see if there's any surprises here. 23 euros, great, no surprises here. Graph looks healthy. Okay, I think we covered the main thing.